people don't know, you lived in Russia.
I did. What a time to be alive.
Talk to me, baby. What was that like? Did you meet Putin?
Taxi culture there is different. There's hitchhiking, like hitchhikes. You just put your thumb out, someone stops, you say where you want to go, and you pay them.
No
They'll
way.
tell you a price, right? Yeah, that's how I never use a taxi there.
Enormous fan of Roma, and I don't know if we've ever dove deep into where this stems from and why you're such a fanatic. I think that's a good word.
You're listening to Board with Nelly.
V-Dog. Welcome back to the Board with Nelly podcast. Yo. You are the first returning guest. How does that feel?
It feels great, but it wasn't called Board with Nelly when I was here the first time, and we didn't have the sick intro music.
That's true. We just did 3 hours of FIFA glitches, and then I thought, like, hey, why don't I just keep doing that? And then I realized, like, that's a horrible idea.
Yeah, the workload is not... It's not normal. I actually watched back the first 3 or 4 minutes of that again recently because I was like, wait, what was that again? Dude, you tagged every glitch. You said, this is the ball phasing through the leg. This is this happening there. So you manually wrote down something for everything. You're great. You're
bro, but it goes even farther. I wrote jokes. If you actually like looked at the text, I wrote jokes, and I wrote jokes in there that you can kind of like reference back to older parts in the video. One dude picked up on it.
You only have 40k views. That's criminal.
If people only knew what kind of like hardware requirements my computer had to like at the end of that video, because you have so many different little bits, Sony Vegas was not equipped to handle like this kind of computing. So at the end, it would literally so if I clicked on a browser and then I went back into Sony Vegas, it would take a minute for me to be able to even do anything in Sony Vegas. It would just be like the loading screen, and I would be like terrified, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna crash, and then no, it's fine. But it took a minute to load.
I don't know, man. I don't know how your computer even managed. I've had 20-minute videos that made my computer do that.
And you have a nicer computer. Yours is like a year, 2 years old.
2 or 3 now. Yeah, pretty new.
Did you figure out how to do this as a tax write-off yet, or what?
No, we're waiting.
Come on, bro. Like, you're now doing it full time. You're a full-time Twitch streamer. It's kind of weird to say, but what are the perks of being a full-time streamer, bro? Write-offs.
Well, definitely, yeah. I would say more than Twitch, YouTube, because YouTube is what really makes me the most money at the moment by far. Twitch is something that I think has like more potential, but before you start really like making a lot there, I think you need a very consistent viewer base, and it's just hard to play FIFA for like 8 hours consecutively, and a lot of it is consistency. Obviously you need to be original as well, but at a certain point, once you get to like 60, 70, 80 or 100 viewers, you need to put like the time in, and it's a lot easier for me to make YouTube videos, and right now it's making so much more, so it's just YouTube for sure.
Right, but you're in the fourth, fifth year of like pretty much doing mostly this. Like that's also the other part that's draining, probably, right?
Yeah. The thing is you know what? Last year was so much more draining because I was doing the YouTube videos for the guide, which was a lot harder because you're not your own boss. You're doing someone else's work. So you could put your blood, sweat, and tears in one video. And then like, if you need to do like 10 revisions for that video, it's like extra work. You never know when you made a good video. Like it's crazy. So that was definitely more stressful than this year. This year, it's a lot better. Plus with these, in this pandemic, like it just kind of like the timing that kind of forced me to do it myself as well. So it's not as bad this year, to be fair. I think this year it's a lot more stress-free.
And recently we discovered that you're an absolute psychopath and you were not using any software on the computer to upload for them. You were manually creating content, downloading it to your phone, and then uploading to Instagram from your phone. And you had no scheduled uploads. You were uploading like when they told you, probably, right? Did they have like a set time?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Dude,
bro.
that was for Instagram. For stories were completely locked in with content, so I had to be there like on the Wednesday or on the Thursday when other content went out at 7 p.m. and do that I couldn't schedule because I can't schedule something that hasn't been released by yet. But for graphics, I'd make it as soon as it's made up. I put it to my phone, and then like we upload it. I upload it to my phone when it's scheduled. So now I just got that thing you told me to get, so that I can schedule it. It's a lot nicer for sure.
Bro.
But that was Instagram wasn't even like the main thing, so that was annoying. It was like this little thing in the back of my head just chirping away at my time.
It's like if you're a real job, it's like one of those things that you just like you can do, but like it's at the end of your like priority list.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
know you don't. Yeah,
but it's like 30 seconds, not 30 seconds. It's gonna take those 20-30 minutes.
How do you feel about your decision to leave the guide? Yeah.
Dude, it was hard because I love those guys. I met them in real life in Germany, and like they're good guys. But at this point, I was like, dude, I need to believe in myself, and also it's not gonna work. I'm either gonna do them and only their stuff full time, or I'm gonna focus on myself, right? And I think long term, if I want to make this work, I kind of want it to be me being my own boss. It's hard to feel like it's your own baby when you join someone else's YouTube like 2, 3, 5, 7 years in since the start. I know some people can do it. You see it in real life with startups. Some people join in 3 years after, right? But it's still so early that like it's when it's all said and done, if it grows big, they'll be like one of the originals. But really, you're not. There's still like you weren't there to found it. So overall, I think I'm a lot less stressed, especially because I can play on my own time. I can dictate my own content. I'm the judge of my own content. I can format it the way I want. And I'm not only limited to tutorials. We're talking about a channel that's only doing tutorials, how to get better at FIFA. Like I don't only do that,
Right. Your videos are very unique in the FIFA scene in the sense that like it's not pack opening. That's kind of rare. You're making analysis videos. You're making a nice little, as you call it, a glorified highlight reel, the last 10 games of Weekend League. But you're still kind of fighting for this niche viewership, which is kind of like if FIFA was an actual good game with good gameplay, like, yeah, that content would be popular, but like it's not going to do ever like the numbers that a pack opening does. I don't know. Is that discouraging?
For sure. For the pack opening, I actually have a series where every week I open all the packs that I accrue. The difference with my pack opening videos and everyone else's is that I spend zero money.
Oh, yeah.
Well, first of all, they do terrible compared to my other videos, but they're slowly doing better and better.
Really?
Second of all, I don't spend any money. So all the packs I get are from me grinding my blood, sweat, and tears to get those packs. And on top of it all, it's really time consuming because I format it in this way that it's kind of like a statistical guy's or finance dude's dream to see exactly like the return of investment.
Right.
So it's like I show, like you can see how terrible these packs are, Most of my videos, it's like people watch me at this point to be like, damn, bro, poor guy, so many awful packs. But in terms, so we got that, the Weekend Warrior, and then obviously I try to make like things that I would watch. They're really time consuming to make. I'm making this new formation thing that's like, dude, the amount of playing time I make, but I feel like the end result is going to be like really good. And I just want people to slowly start watching me. I feel like that's more organic. If that takes longer, I feel like the end result is better. You see a lot of people like explode and then like they kind of like dip down again.
Yeah.
I'd rather grow
Steady
with many types of things that people like to watch me. So I can do everything rather than I could just do like 50 tutorials from here on out, but then people only watch me for tutorials. I don't care about that.
Right. But what's the other side of this? Like a video that you've really grinded out and just didn't do well? Because I feel like me and you have a very similar thing here because we can come down and grind really hard, like especially for the glitch video or FIFA job or whatever. But some videos you put so much time into and it was not worth it. And you upload some garbage or something that you think is like, and it does like amazing.
Dude, my second best video, and it was only my second best because my best one went viral to a level that I couldn't even predict, was literally, I was like, what do I do this week? Okay, I played a game against this guy who cheated me in objectives. and I did highlights of it with a commentary. 110,000 views. I was like, what? Why?
So random.
How's this? Took me, dude. I made it. It was the morning of the day I was meant to upload. I played a game, matched that guy. I was like, whatever. This is a video. 1 hour and a half later, video's done. 110,000 views. I was like, why? Why this one? There's videos that took me like multiple days. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I feel you. There's the drone video I always talk about. It took me like, I don't know, a full month to learn. I actually had to learn After Effects. I never knew how to use After Effects. And the video did great. It went on Reddit, it did great. It got like 100,000 views on Reddit. And then it got like 10 on my channel. And then like, you look at the video like CAPTCHA. That was literally me and my friend were sitting in my room like this. And I was trying to like register my PlayStation something, whatever. And I'm like, I started having weird problems with the thing. I'm like, this is kind of funny. And then I just recorded, like, I'm like, you know what? I don't know what this is, but like, this is funny. OBS, clicked record. And we went through this whole process together. And it was a completely organic process. Like, there was no, like, I didn't stage any of this. It was just the nightmare that actually is, like, figuring out a CAPTCHA. And then the next day, I messaged my friend and I'm looking back at the footage. I'm like, I don't know what this is, dude, but like, I'm going to make a video about this. And it was just me being a troll. And then I uploaded it. And then some guy uploaded it on Reddit. And next thing you know, it's on like #1 on Reddit. I'm like, what is happening? This is the weirdest. This is kind of the beauty of YouTube, I guess, in a way.
I remember when that happened, bro. That was like the first moment. We were still doing Foot FM at the time. That was like the first moment you were like, non-FIFA video? Doing what?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm out, boys.
Bro, even in like 2017, I was thinking like, how do I get out of this thing? That's how long I've been trying to get out of this thing, bro. Fuck. It's okay. That's what the podcast is about. Valerio, how are you getting out of this thing? Let's talk about it. I feel like Saving Private Ryan. We don't leave until we get every goddamn man out of FIFA.
The thing is, I don't want to get out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I feel like this is something. If I can, whether I when this whole pandemic thing is over and I go back to a quote unquote normal job or whatever I end up doing, I feel like if it's only 1 video a month, 2 videos a month, 1 video a week, I feel like this is something I always want to do and just keep the asset. I feel like we're shifting in the world towards an era where unemployment is a thing of the past. And even if you become so rich to where you can be unemployed, at the end of the day, you're going to get bored and you're going to want to use whatever assets you have to invest in more things, create more things, skill development, become better at whatever. You're always going to be busy. I think like people just, it's not even about employment and unemployment anymore in life. It's just like, you got to do stuff that makes you happy. If you can make that an asset that brings in revenue, even the better. I'm always going to, I think, enjoy football games. I think there's so much value in having a platform on YouTube. Mine is insignificant at this point, but if I can grow it, like, why not? You never know. It's not impossible to shift it from a FIFA channel to a football channel. It just takes time. Maybe a FIFA and football channel, use it to grow other channels.
2022, PES 2022, baby.
A new game comes out and oh, look at me. I'm the, how many times have we seen it from people who do shooters? Oh, they're the best COD player. Fortnite's out. They play Fortnite. Dude, you never know. It's obviously much tougher for a football game to come out and that to happen. Hey, man, maybe even FIFA becomes good one day. I don't know, dude. Things are going to change. I'm there. I'm going to be ready when they do. I don't want to be the guy who
missed out, right?
Gave up and missed out. And it's like, it's not that much work. Like, dude, at the end of the day, like, whatever, I'll just keep working at it. It's one thing I'll keep doing. And right now I'm going to grind harder than maybe in the future, but because pandemic, all that stuff, there's more things that allow me to do this full time. So we moved, dude.
I feel
I'm
that.
not trying to get out.
Yeah, I feel that. Not in the sense of like just FIFA, but I mean in the content sense. I've always said like, oh man, like, I don't know if there's one thing that I want to be doing like forever. Like I've always said, like, bro, I like too many different things. If you look at my like floor in my room, I don't know if we can see this, but like, it's an absolute shit show of what I am. Like this floor defines who I am as a person almost, right? Like there's everything there. So, but I've always said like, oh, what's that one thing that I want to keep doing? And I don't know if it's necessarily FIFA or football, but it is making content. Like that's something I always go back to. And like, no matter how much work it is or whatever, it's like, it's such a rare place to actually like have some sort of creative, thing to express, like a place to express creativity. Like even working, like I was talking to you about it earlier, but working on the PES video, I have a 4,000 word script. I found the images for everything that I'm using. I'm gonna pick out the music for the entire video. I'm gonna find a way to like advertise it. Like there's so many things that are fun and different every single time you're doing it, right? Like whereas like an engineering job or anything in that ballpark is relatively consistent. Like there's no, I don't know how to explain. There's no like difference to it, right? You're doing the same thing over and over. But to me, every video is almost, not including Nelly news, obviously, is different, right? Do you feel that way with your videos?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to make some series that are like consistent, which allows me, if I'm having a period of time where I'm not creative at all, I have things to fall back on. That was like the plan, and then around that, I can make things that are more creative and like on the go. But overall, yeah, there's so much things that go involved, and you learn so many things that I feel like. While at first I was like, man, this is a huge risk, and like, if I do this and it doesn't work out, there's like this hole in my CV. But now I just realized there's no hole in my CV. Like I can fill it up with so many skills. And at the end of the day, bro, I think my older brother told me this once. No one knows anything, bro. No,
so true. You told me this. I was like, that's so spot on.
Can we swear on this? Or
yeah, of course, bro.
Everyone's a bullshitter, dude. Like, and no one knows shit, dude. Everyone's like lying. There's people who are like absolute geniuses, but for the most part, you go to an interview, the guy who's going to be your boss doesn't know shit, dude. Like we're all kind of winging it. There's no reason to be insecure. And if you're doing something, you can always twist it, bro. Dude, no matter what you've done, there's like the marketing aspect, there's creative aspect. It's so much.
That's something I did want to ask you. Did you wish you could have taken a different, knowing what you know today, would you have taken a different educational path or avoided education at all? Or what would the move be?
The thing is, it's so much easier said than done because at 18, once you're 18, you're like, yeah, I'm an adult now. But I look back and like, I was a fucking dumbass at 18.
I thought this like 2 years ago, bro. At 25, I'm like, bro, I'm still not kind of like an adult.
Dude, at 21, I was like, I was a dumbass at 18. I'm still a dumbass now. Like, it didn't take me long, but like...
Yo, I had a good paying job. 18, I'm like, am I an adult now? Is that how this works? Like, you know, but it wasn't the case.
Nah, man, it's bullshit, and I think it's hard. I think obviously it's easier when you have parents who have like. I think I, as a parent, might do a better job in that regard than my parents. Not that my parents were bad, but like I think their generation was still like, you gotta go through the process, education, university, get your job. But now I think there's ways that you can be creative. Like you don't have to go to university. I still would have gone to university, but you know what I would have done? I would have done like computer science or something.
Just
That's
like
what
a
I would have done. 100%.
Secondary job if you really needed one, right? Like a backup.
Yeah, I would have gone somewhere to learn coding properly. Even though now you can do it online, I think when I went to uni, it could have been a bit harder to do it. Just get my degree in computer science and start. Because obviously I listened to your podcast. You had that guy who did computer science. He was a programmer and then moved into Twitch. Like he used his talents in developing and programming into building a better stream. I wish I had that skill set. Right. So I went to uni and did a business degree basically, and it's like I wish I hadn't. I wish I really hadn't. But it is what it is, bro. Like you learn, you live and you learn. That my brother is 16, and my suggestion to him is think of what to do when you graduate. Because I suggest you take a year out, but not a year out to do nothing. Do something super like creative and productive. You know your family will support you, and then use that for a year to apply. Don't worry about applying in senior year. You know, do something that year, then go to uni. Especially if
100%.
Like I would definitely do that. But programming would be such a nice thing to know on top of streaming right now. I could do so many cool things, but now I don't have really the time to learn it.
Right. Well, your brother plays football, so maybe people don't know. What would be a good thing to go with that? Like he actually has legitimate chance of being something in football, right? It's still early, but he has a potential future in football.
Again, I'm going to link another episode. You had, oh no, I can't link that episode. Yeah.
Only, that was an exclusive.
Can we say that you have a friend who is he became pro, right? We can say he became a pro.
He is
right. You have a friend who became a pro and had a career in some obscure leagues in Europe. And this is a key thing. People think professional footballer, either you make it to the Premier League or you're out. But that's not how it works. There's many people who get paid to many different levels. And so, you know, my brother knows that, and if it comes down to it, he could definitely play for a more obscure league. Is that how much you love football? If it is, then go all in, and then you can turn into coaching this and that. I think on top of being like playing football, I always told him, I think you should make a YouTube channel, bro.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna.
Does he like making content? Does he like actually making content?
Sure. Yeah. Like he does. He just doesn't know anything about it. Like, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I hear my voice and like turn it off.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear myself.
Yeah, bro. I went to like my cousin's house and they wanted to put one of my videos on. I'm like, please don't.
I'm like, no. Nelly news.
No, it wasn't even Nelly. It was actually a good video. Like it was like the caption video. I'm like, please, like I know you love it, but like I don't want to see it. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
Yeah, I don't want to be in there when you're showing it. But yeah, I wanted this year, the plan was, because I've seen YouTube channels of people in Italy or in Europe and academies, like a day in the life of a 16-year-old at an academy. And my brother could make that, and they go like hundreds of thousands of views, dude. And then it turns into a channel where they just vlog their life. They go to training, and people look at them. Oh, they vlog their training. It has a huge following because people like the story. And so
Get him on TikTok, baby. What do you mean YouTube? That's caveman technology. Get him on TikTok, bro.
TikTok, right?
He's 16. This is prime time. He's gonna slay so much. Lord have mercy.
I don't associate, but yeah, I was offering to do it for him.
Right.
I just don't have the time. Plus, his season's now on hold now because of the pandemic, so it's all screwed. So whatever. But yeah, there's plenty of things you could do with football to get creative.
That's weird. It's a weird time to be in football with the pandemic.
I feel bad for these kids.
I mean, yeah, it's really like tragic. Like that, it's just I don't know. If I had to be indoor, like I was 15, like I would lose my mind. Like, I literally had to like in.
I actually had a tournament. I had a football tournament that was canceled because of swine flu. Do you remember H1N1 or whatever? H1Z1. I don't know. There was 2012. Yeah. I went to Romania for a football tournament. Back when I was in Russia with my team, and the first day happens. By the second day, the government kicked us out the country. Everyone out. Like,
yo, what the fuck?
We had to leave.
Really?
I was so upset. I was like, what? I was so excited for this tournament, and like we worked so hard for this massive tournament, and then bam, we're out because of swine flu. But obviously, that they never got big as
shout out to
swine
flu. Shout out to one time.
So I got a taste of it.
Right.
And I can't imagine a whole year. No. Dude, I was depressed. I was depressed for that.
Yeah, speaking of depression, let's talk about your time in Russia. Before Stallion came here, I had a set list of things I wanted to talk about. I was like ordering a sub at Subway. I like a little Russia on the side. I like how we met to be a funny story. But Russia, yeah. You people don't know, you lived in Russia.
I did. What a time to be alive.
Talk to me, baby. What was that like? Did you meet Putin?
No, I didn't. Did
you ride a polar bear or a bear?
No, but I did go to Siberia at one point with a school trip. It was great. Dude, honestly, man, Russia, what a place. It's weird because everything, I remember, this is not in Russia, but I remember when I went to uni in Spain for a bit before I dropped out of that and then moved to the UK. And the first day, I don't know, people like professors like to do a commencement speech or whatever, dude.
Right.
This guy was like, he had this whole speech about stereotypes, and his whole message was like, stereotypes aren't truth. Yeah, you can't base your perceptions of a country on stereotypes and people and things, but they're part of the truth. And I was like, huh. So like, I don't know, I'm Italian, like, oh, pizza, spaghetti. I'm like, well, yeah, I eat pizza, spaghetti. I love pizza. Yeah, I guess it's true, but like not every day, So it's like, so when you think of Russia, there's so many stereotypes. People think of Russia. I feel like everyone dangerous city and like corrupt and this and that. I don't want to live there. And like
media bullshit, some fake news.
Evil people and this Slavs. And frigid people. And there's some truth to that. Like I remember when we first got there, we were told always drive with like a bottle of vodka in your car, some money, extra cash. Because if you get stopped over by the police, they'll stop you over for anything.
Right.
The only way to get out of that, you give them a bottle of vodka, some money. It's just how it works.
That happens anyway.
They make no money.
That can happen. Anywhere.
Okay, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen in Italy. You know, like
Really?
it's unheard of in Europe. In Europe, no, dude. In Europe, you don't get stopped.
Alright,
This is like Eastern Europe thing, I think.
Yeah, Serbia is definitely the thing as well. I was gonna say that's pretty accurate.
So like, some corruption. Like, sure, it's true. It's true. You hear some weird stories, like whatever. It's fine. But at the same time, there's also a lot of good stuff that doesn't get talked about. Like, I remember when there was a World Cup, the World Cup there. I feel like this would have only happened in Russia. I feel like it wouldn't have happened anywhere else in Europe. There was a van that was like doing some dodgy thing. They said it could have been like a terrorist stuff. I don't know. Try to go into a crowd. What would happen, in my opinion, in Italy or something? Maybe I'm wrong. Everyone's running away. No. You see this swarm of dudes chase the guy. Like the complete opposite.
Right.
Like the sense of like justice.
They're
like
built different.
They're like, yo, what are you doing? Are you screwing? Are you hurting people? Boom. Everyone's chasing this guy like to the rescue. Obviously, some people are flying away, but like, I feel like if that happens, everyone's just out. They're wired differently. Or I remember, how many times I went out like clubbing with friends, nights out. I'm pissed drunk. It's 4 a.m. There's no taxis. Taxi culture there is different. There's hitchhiking, like hitchhikes. You just put your thumb out. Someone stops. You say where you want to go, and you pay them.
No
They'll
way.
tell you a price, right? Yeah, that's how I never use a taxi there. Every night out, 4 a.m., I'm pissed drunk. I tell them where I need to go. Barely speak I speak just enough to tell them and like give them direction, and that's it. I pass the fuck out in their car, and I wake up at home. You know what I mean? Like
the Russian man carried you and put you in the bed. He's like, sleep well, Italian brother.
It'd be like me and a friend, and both of us would be like. And he's like, yo, wake up. And we're at our destination. How easy is it for them at that point to drive literally anywhere? Right?
Yeah.
No, I don't recommend doing that.
That's actually wild. If you're a female, I feel like that's not a move, but.
Right. I'm a dude, so I won't speak for it. But there were times it was me and a girl or two girls, like whatever, right? So it hundreds of times, stick my thumb out, some random dude. Literally random dude. And Russia's a massive country. You have a lot of immigrants from like neighboring like Kazakhstan and Armenia. Maybe you have some Russians. Everyone, no matter who, super nice, always brought me to destination. I paid them the price they said I would have to pay, and they let me go. That's it.
That's it.
I never had issues. So like I feel like the other side of it is that if it was really that dangerous, I feel like something might have happened. Maybe I got unlucky, but I also never heard of any of my friends get issues with the.
It seems like a normal thing over there, is what you're saying.
It's the culture, right? So I feel like overall, it was a great time, dude. I love Russia.
Would you ever go back?
No.
What a transition! That's so good. That's where I'm gonna end the like promo video. Like that's where I'm gonna cut right there.
I wouldn't go back because, like, I mean, maybe. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You've had a weird kind of childhood because you're always moving and, like, you never really were too stationary, which is kind of unique. It's like you're one of those, like, those army kids that, like, goes with their, like, Marine Corps parents. And
I went to school with a lot of those guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of American, what are they called? Expats?
All the expats, all their parents worked in the embassy, like military, all that stuff. They're all the same, dude. Basically, every 3 years, like, oh, peace.
Really?
I'm going to the next country. Yeah, 3 years.
That's
3 year
so crazy, dude. I don't like. That's such a different world.
Dude, that's the thing. There's like the international student community is our own little niche. Like when I see it, when we see each other in the public, we're like, yeah, we know. And it's crazy.
It's like X-Men. Like you feel each other's powers. Like, yeah, you had a weird childhood, didn't you?
It's like all the people are like, yo, you're American, bro? No, we all sound like this, right? We have like an accent that's not really like American, but not really English. And everyone's like, but then when you meet someone else of that accent, we're like, yeah, it's like if you met some guy from the FIFA Twitter on a club, you're like, oh, hey. We know. Like someone who actually follows you, sees all your tweets, everyone else's tweets. Like you're part of this niche. You have that connection also with these kids.
But let's put this into perspective. You lived in Italy and Russia most of your life, right? Those are the two big places.
Russia the most. Now I'm catching up with Italy because I've been here for a bit. But it was Italy, Switzerland, Russia. No, Italy, Switzerland, Turkey, Russia, Spain, England. And then back to Italy.
How long was England?
three and a half years.
Okay. It's funny because your
40.
English is like better than my English. Like your English is outstanding, and yet you're kind of this weird pool of countries.
By the time I was in England, I was already like 19, 20 years old. So it's like my English is developed by then.
Your
it's
English
over.
was developed before because you learned English in Russia as an Italian. I'm confused here.
I learned the English in Turkey as an Italian.
What the fuck is?
Because I went to English speaking schools because I couldn't go to a Turkish school, right? And also, like, it's kind of like the deal that it goes. Anytime
That's right.
you
explained this to me.
move, people, like, everyone always got sent to these English schools. And I learned English there. And most of my teachers were either Canadian, American, or English.
But they don't have an Italian school.
They did, but they were garbage.
Really?
Garbage schools. Like imagine a school where you're a first grader, but you're in class with a sixth grader as well. There's just so little of you that you're all together, and you're just like, that's not the move.
That's actually so trippy. Like it's a whole new world to me of this foreign person living in a different country, but learning English because it's the best program. Like I'm sure your parents would have loved if you just learned Italian only, right? Or were they like delighted that you had to learn English?
Oh, no. My mom, even when I was living in Rome as a kid, before we even knew that we would ever move, was making an effort of giving me like English lessons as a kid and all that stuff.
Crazy.
She was really like, no, you have to learn English. I also did Italian on the side. Like up until sixth grade, I did 2 school programs at once. I was homeschooled for Italian and I had to go to normal school. And at a certain point, I was like, Mom, I'm done. Like, this is stupid.
I'm putting
doing
in 2 shifts,
programs.
Mom. I'm putting 2 fucking shifts in. I'm not doing this anymore. This is bullshit.
Fucking
You walk out.
bullshit.
You
Yeah.
quit. You're like, I'm done. I'm fucking done.
I like send me to one school, dude. Not 2.
Pick one, Mom. I can't do both. But it's funny
it's crazy.
because my mom had the same thing where like right before we moved to Canada, maybe like 2 years before, we never actually had a real big plan to move to Canada. We just applied for visas and we were lucky enough to get one, right? But before that, she was like trying to like say like, oh, she was sending me these classes to learn English. And as a kid, I was like, bro, this is stupid. Like, what's the point? Like, English? I'm not fucking. Why the hell would I need to learn English? And she's like, just do it. And I was such a little brat. I was like, nah, I don't want to learn English. This is bullshit. I speak Serbian. It's fine. Like, I don't need. Who's gonna need English? I'm living in Serbia. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, we moved to Canada. I was like, man, I really should have done a little more work on that English.
Yeah, you had to dive in there head first, baby. Learn that from scratch.
Yeah, it was rough. I definitely should have, but
How old are you?
like 7, so it wasn't too bad.
That
Like,
that was my age too.
yeah, it's not the worst, but like it would have been helpful if I wasn't such a little brat at 7. Like I literally was a brat. Like what are you gonna do? Can't change these things. The other thing I wanted to ask you was our friendship is kind of a strange one in a sense. It's a very modern day friendship. You know, we met on the interwebs in a show called Foot FM.
Yeah.
How did this come about?
Well, it came about because when Foot FM was begun, it started the process of creating. Its inception was when Pop created the pod, and then he asked a bunch of people to join in. It was me, you, Chappers, and Pop. But he asked us like all separately. So when I came on, he's like, all right, it's going to be me, you, this guy, and this guy. I was like, I don't know who the hell this Nelly got bored guy is. I was worried. I was like, God damn it. This guy's going to be one of those like American dudes. Like,
and I was worried too. I was like, man, me and Pop spoke fluent English. I'm like, Pop, can we really afford to bring an Italian man who doesn't speak any English? And Pop's like, no, bro, he speaks good English. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, at that time, he didn't know though. He was like, he had only heard me, we were only speaking via text. So via messages, yeah, I spoke good English. But he
asked you to be on the pod without even hearing your voice.
Yeah, we had a test pod, and he was like, I'm disappointed that you don't have an Italian accent. But
he wanted the Italian accent for the memes. Oh my God, he was so pissed.
Yeah, so that came about. And then obviously for a while, you know, our relationship was just like via the pod. We had that one meeting a week. We had a group chat, all that good stuff. At a certain point, it evolved to the point where we added each other on WhatsApp for the audio messages. I don't know. Yes. We had an audio message stage.
Audio clips are still a gem to this day.
Yeah, and then eventually, even when you left the pod, we kept speaking, and I don't know, a lot of stuff that I don't remember exactly, but we did meet up in person when you were on your little Europe trip.
How good, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how good looking did you think I was gonna be, and then how disappointed were you with the ugly? How ugly I was? No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? I thought you were gonna be taller, like way taller.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like, I'm gonna
cool.
be a midget next to this guy because when I met Pop, that guy was huge. Like,
Yeah, he's a
and
bear.
I remember you saying you were like similar size, but then I was like, oh, he's not that much taller than me. I was like, nice. I was happy with that though. I was like,
You thought you were gonna be looking up at me, and I was gonna tell you, "Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
nice to meet you." Ruffle your
But,
hair
yeah.
a little bit.
Other than that, I was like, I've seen your face. I knew what to expect. It was weird. It was like
It is a
there
very
were
weird
trippy
moment.
moments when we were having beers, and I was like, if you can't see me, I'm like putting my finger in front of me, Robbie, because I was like, you know, when you're like, is this a computer screen?
Yeah,
No,
right.
no, it's not.
It's where the glitch in the Matrix breaks, and you're like, "Man, this doesn't seem right. Something's off here. Like, why is this guy in front of me now?"
Yeah. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory, though. Just like it picked up right where we left off on the interwebs. Picked up in the middle of Rome.
These internet things are kind of weird. Even when I was younger, I always thought, like, "Man, I'm not gonna have any internet friends. Like, it's weird. Like, why the hell would I do that?" And now I would consider you a good friend because, like, I talk to you more than most. I would say 80 to 90% of my people that I'm within like a driving distance of. So,
Yeah. You know why? I think
yeah, why
it's
is that?
because
We were both
because,
pushing towards a
in a
similar
way-
goal, so we had similar interests.
it's kind of like going to the office and you're bound to talk to your colleague more than a good friend of yours because you see him every day. Whereas a good friend who you'll see him on the weekends. But we're not really colleagues, even though it's kind of like we're colleagues, but we're not colleagues. But we're just in the same space, so we're gonna have more discussions about relevant topics. Yo, what's up with YouTube right now? Have you tried this on a video or whatever? So I think it's like the modern day colleague thing. So
It's a
the same
digital
with me.
colleague, right?
It's kind of like going to school, dude. Like when you go to school, people you're in class with, you talk to them more than most people. But now we all meet every day online. I have that with multiple people, not just you as well. It's crazy. It's so weird.
Here's even a weirder one. I'll give you a weirder one. I'll share. There's this girl that I met on an app called Tandem. It's like a language app where, you know, two people that speak different languages can communicate with each other to like help each other learn. I think a lot of dudes are kind of horny and they use it for weird shit. But I legitimately wanted to learn like Spanish, right? Like I was out there, I'm like, yeah, like try to speak Spanish. And I don't know, me and this chick from Venezuela started talking, and like now she's like, I would say a good friend of mine. Like we talk, I would say every other day or every day. We'll watch like a Spanish Netflix show together. It's so weird, like, but
really,
yeah.
On a call or
no, like we'll just like Netflix party or whatever. And then like if I'm watching the show, like I'll ask her questions or whatever. She'll tell me like life in Venezuela, and I'll learn about something that I had no idea about. Like apparently the other day she was telling me like in Venezuela people are super like greedy and shit. Like if you go to the grocery store and you buy, let's say $9 worth of something and you pay them with a 20, they'll pretend to not have $1 like in their register, so they don't have to give you 11, they give you 10.
Yeah.
And you can't really dispute with them. They'll just say like, oh, I don't have it. And if like you tell them to check the register, they'll like check the underneath, like they have a fake one.
Yeah.
And they'll pull them. So I was like, man, this is fucking kind of wild.
Yeah.
I think this is where the kind of the podcast idea really started, which is like, I just want to consume as much information from other people as humanly possible. Like I don't ever have enough information. Like I need to know more.
Yeah. That's why I always wonder that, like, I don't know if you have this with some real life friends, not the ones that know of what you do, but like I have a group chat with some of my old friends from like high school or uni, and none of them are even remotely close to knowing what I do. They just don't get it. They have no idea of these communities online. And I look at them and it feels like it feels like I'm talking to people that like I know it feels like I'm traveling in a time machine and we're 10 years ago, and like, right, because these guys have the normal sort of 9-to-5 jobs, industries, you know, if you want to, they just look at the world like there's this industry, that industry, this industry, and they try to understand my stuff, they're so confused, and it just makes me wonder, like, how are people like content with not understanding, sort of thing, right? Because I'd be going crazy. I try to understand their lives. I'm like so confused at like how they go about it and how they wouldn't know what I'm doing, and I'm like, so it's always weird to me, dude. Very weird.
This choice to just not know is the one that I guess cannot seem to accept. Like, I think we've had this conversation before, but like we're saying like, oh, like find one thing that you like doing, and I'm like, bro, I don't know if I could do that. Like I always thought like, yeah, maybe I can, and it's like I'm at a point now in my life where I'm like, I've tried so many different things, and nothing still seems like I want to just do one thing only. So maybe like my thing is not the thing, like to do one thing only. Why is that like such a crazy notion? It seems like it's not that crazy. Like, yeah, I don't enjoy just one thing.
It's like in The Hitch, when at the end of it he's like, there are no rules. There are no rules. Yeah. You kind of just, you got to make it work somehow with whatever you want.
I have next week, I have a friend coming on the pod that I want, or 2 weeks, I think, from now. This is where I'm saying, like, this is kind of a weird thing that only, like, we can talk about. Like, if I were trying to tell this to someone else, like, they wouldn't understand. This guy he holds the record for the fastest beer mile. So that means he starts by chugging a beer, like a 250 milliliter or whatever, runs one lap, chugs another one, runs a lap, chugs another one, runs a lap, and he holds the record for the fastest time in the world.
Do you know the time?
It's like 4 minutes and 46 seconds. Like he's an absolute athlete. He's trying to train for the Olympics. Like he's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
But he's like,
wow.
I don't think people understand why would anyone care? This is my point. Why would anyone, like if I told that to my mom, why the hell would she care? She'd be like, yeah, he's a fucking weirdo. You know, like, that's great. But to me, it's like, that's so interesting. That's so unique and random. Like I have so many questions, you know, like, how did this come about? Why did you start training for this? Did you realize that like you were actually going to make some money from this? Like, is there a competition that like this can go to another level? Like, there's so many things here, and it's just such an internet thing. Like, you have this random thing that seemingly is nothing and stupid, and yet it's everything and awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you see it with so many things. Like people who get into like eating competitions. Like, why? You know?
I'd love to have one of those guys on. Just chewing a lobster as they're fucking talking to me. Like,
sometimes it's just about, I guess in a way there might be something like that feels good when you find something you're naturally good at and then improving, right? You say, okay, I'm a little bit better here. Let's maximize that, right? Otherwise, I'd be playing a shooting game, right? But I'm playing FIFA because I'm good at FIFA, you know? Like, but or I'd be playing Age of Empires if I could choose. Easy.
That would be the dream.
If I could be the best at Age of Empires, I'll be the best at Age of Empires.
Okay, yeah. Let's say this in a hypothetical world where you can take your skill sets to any art, any activity. Where would you want to take it to? I feel like, I don't know, if I just said, Stallion, you could be good at professional football. Stallion, you could be good at AOE. Stallion, you could be good at starting a business, or like you could be like Mr. Wonderful or whatever, one of these guys.
Oh my God, this is hard. What can I be good at? I wouldn't know. I'd be like, do I choose? Because you know, I play guitar, and I was always good at guitar.
You play guitar?
But like, yeah, I play guitar. I was good at guitar.
Why didn't you offer to do my outro, you asshole? I could have used, like, what the fuck? I could have.
Nah, yours is great. Yeah,
it is great. But I'm saying, like, you could have at least offered, like, hey, bro, I'd love to do a fucking solo for you at the end.
And send you a scuffed recording. Like, you deserve better, bro. But like, do I want to be like one of those crazy dudes, talented, like that they pick it up? But I feel like I could have been very good at guitar with the time. I just didn't really put the time. And no one who's like amazing at guitar, it just ended up being that. Like, they're all put so many hours in. But I don't know, man. Like, maybe tennis, dude. I feel like being a tennis player is sick. Like, it's so underrated. You don't have to win to make a ton of money. You're traveling. I mean, you got an entourage of people.
Traveling thing is kind of a double-edged sword, though, right? Like, you're never home. Like, after, like, it's probably be fun in the first couple years, and then, like, you're in your, like, late 20s, and, like, you literally have zero time to hang out with anyone because you're in fucking Miami or some random fucking Abu Dhabi trying to secure
the thing is, they all have, like, they have their, like, assuming I could have been a top 10 player, right? Assuming, if I could choose, you have at that point you have a hub, right? You live in Spain or whatever. You move everyone, your whole family, wherever your training hub is, and you're chilling there. You sign up to X amount of tournaments. When you have a Grand Slam, you take everyone with you. It's a 2-week affair. Everyone,
That's
we're all going to Wimbledon.
That's
Everyone,
true.
we're all going to Australia. I mean, when they go to Australia, they even go a week before. I don't know. At a certain point, you become so great that you earn your right to make it comfortable. But there's obviously that's ifs and buts. It would have been nice to be top 10 in anything, like any sport in the world, either that, football, but in video game senses, Age of Empires.
Age of Empires. It's a no-brainer for both of us. Speaking of football, that's another topic. The Roma kit, the Roma stuff. You're a massive, enormous fan of Roma, and I don't know if we've ever, dove deep into where this stems from and why you're such a fanatic. I think that's a good word.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's hereditary. You know what I mean? Like my dad's a Roma fan.
Like the movie.
He was, yeah. He's it's just there was no other choice for me. I mean, there was a choice, but like it never made sense. You see it sometimes. I think my cousin, my cousin's an Inter fan. His dad is a Milan fan, and I'm just like, how does that
weird.
happen?
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Like I just remember watching. My dad never even forced it on me. Like it would be on the TV, and then I'm from Rome. My dad supports Roma. My friends are from Rome. We're all Roma fans. I'm a Roma fan.
And they were very good at the time, right?
They were, yeah. When I was a kid, well, I was born. They were ass, and then they slowly ended up winning. They won the league when I was 7 years old. They peaked. Obviously, Totti was at his prime. We had world-class player, world champs. Cafu won the World Cup. Like it was crazy, man. We had an insane amount of team. But despite that, I've never felt closer to Roma than when we were garbage. Like
Really?
I'd be fighting. Dude, being a Roma fan in Rome is one thing. Being a Roma fan when you live abroad and everyone's a United fan, and this
true.
fan, it is. Everyone's like Totti, dude. I feel like my whole life I've been a missionary for Totti, trying to convert people. Hello, may I speak to you about Totti for 5 minutes? Like in Italy, it's so easy. I don't have to say shit.
Right.
The guy is the second all-time scorer in Italian football history, the best 10 of all time. Obviously, some people will still say
So
Del
funny.
Piero and Baggio, but
Right.
everyone knows deep down who the best is. It's easy. The best 10 of all time for a nation that won 4 World Cups, it should be a no-brainer, right? One of the best players of all time. And still
You're converting me
the
now.
bias. The bias of the Prem is just such a great product, the most famous product, right? So it's hard to make people understand that there's levels to this game. And at their peak, but yeah, it was just born from that. And then I think actually living abroad fueled it even more. I think I'm way more patriotic than had I lived in Italy.
Really?
There's a lot of people in Italy a lot of weird Roma fans, like, I don't care about the national team. I'm not supporting these guys, And I'm just like, dude, when Italy's playing, it's wartime, baby. Like, let's go, because I have so many connections with people abroad, so it makes sense. Whereas for them, the main thing for someone who might be born in Rome is Roma Lazio. But it makes sense because you're always surrounded by Lazio fans. So it's like all you know. But for me, Roma Lazio also is really important. It's just that for them, so I'd say it comes from my parents, my dad, watching friends, and then moving abroad amplified it because it felt it was always me versus the world. I never had a friend who was a Roma fan, ever. You're alone. So you're even more proud, I feel.
What is this like weird thing with like people in their national teams, especially like I see it in Serbia too, like so many people absolutely like hate the national team and like will not support anything they're doing in any way. And I'm like, I don't get, I mean, I get the perspective. Yeah, they're like, let's say they're underachieving, fair. But I don't know how many more other like angles to that there is, like, because in a sense, these guys are kind of mini heroes. It's kind of superhero. They're playing for their national team. They don't really get paid to do, like, they don't get paid much or anything in some places to play. And yet they're coming from whatever respective league they are after they've had a full like season or full training sessions, and they're usually giving 110%. And they're doing it for nothing but pure love of, like, they're competing at the highest level for the country. Like, why would you not support them?
There's something about that I think some human psychiatrist, psychologist could probably like give a term for it, but it has to surely, because like it's happening in Italy, it happens in Serbia, it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
It has to have something to do with the fact that these are people who have never left their country, will never leave their country, will never interact with people.
Very narrow-minded.
So they can't understand, because like the same people who don't give a crap about the Serbian or Italian national teams are the first who will feel like the most intense rivalry when like Red Star and Partizan are playing,
right.
So you understand the concept of a rivalry,
Right.
but how can you have a rivalry with someone you've never met, and you've never met anyone from like I don't know, Argentina? So like, why do you care when Serbia plays Argentina? You care more about beating your neighbor, right? Because there's bragging rights. So I feel like if you just don't care, you don't care. I feel like that's why I say living abroad fueled my passion for Italy. Dude, 2006 World Cup, best moment of my life.
Like, has to be, yeah. This is such a rare pinnacle in football that most people will never get to enjoy. Their nation winning a World Cup is so like, it's such a small fraction of humans.
Can you imagine first day of school after the 2006 World Cup?
No.
You know what I'm wearing? I'm wearing my Italy kit. Second day of school, you know what I'm wearing? I'm wearing this t-shirt that says world champions. Like, because I'm the only Italian there, you know?
Right.
Like, but if you're an Italian living in a public school, first day of school after you win the World Cup, you're surrounded by other Italians. Where's the bragging? You know,
right.
What have you just won for? Obviously,
True.
It doesn't mean they didn't care. It's just like, I feel like it's more likely to care less, even if I lived in Italy, I wouldn't be like that. I would still care a lot. I just feel like anyone who's put in that environment where it's you versus everyone else, you're going to brag, right? You become more proud. It's kind of like, if you speak in Italian, he's the first one to talk shit about his own country. But if that same Italian is hearing a conversation about people talking shit about Italy, he's gonna be like, "Yo, shut the fuck up!" Like,
right.
You know, what I mean? I can say it. You can. Yeah, there's some weird human psychology going on here, but yeah.
Yeah, that kind of leads us into the most exciting part of all of this is Roma potentially could play yours truly, Red Star Belgrade, in Europa. That would be a real treat, B-Dog.
That would be, all of a sudden, that's a game I care about, you know what I mean?
Right.
More than usual. Like, if it's like, okay, we just played the young boys, right? I want Roma to win, but I don't know anyone who supports the young boys from Switzerland. So we win, I'm happy, it ends there. Now we're playing Red Star. Okay. Me and Nelly, baby. You know, we're going to be talking about like, yo, that Pellegrini guy's ass. I'm like, no, he's not. He's fucking class.
The banter is going to be
you know what I mean?
Yo, if I was in Europe, we would go to Belgrade to watch that, surely.
Yeah. Okay. And Rome, like both, home and away.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we can't do shit. It's stupid, bro.
It's okay. I think Red Star this year moved into the top 50 coefficient, top 50 clubs, which is actually insane because 4 years ago, they were 198th on that list.
Wow. That's crazy.
So they're slowly improving. Like this, we're talking about a club that's coming down from the highest of highs, winning Champions League, and winning the world, whatever, Coca-Cola thing. It's the two biggest. I had to drop that. For anyone that actually knows what that is, like, let me know in the comments. But yeah, like, they went from that to like not being able to qualify for Europa to like finishing third in their league, in their domestic league, which has been dominated by two, clubs through most of its history, to now back to versus Roma in Europa. They did play, this is the funny part that people might not remember, but Red Star did play Roma actually once in Europa. And how did that end, Stallion?
Well, you've been linking me this dumbass video for years, so we lost, which is even more infuriating because we had a good team at the time as well. It just goes to show how little we gave.
Didn't play. That's why I think that's a big thing, right? I
like that. That's a big asterisk.
That is a big
asterisk to put there. No, but Roma's always done really poorly in Europe because we're idiots. I don't understand the superiority complex. We don't win shit. I want to win the Europa League, you know?
But this thing, like, people that don't care about Europa, and I was like, I love the Europa memes until Europa came a little closer to home, and now Europa's kind of everything because it's such a massive thing for like future coefficients. Like the Red Star, or it's the Serbian league, is just on the fringe of securing one guaranteed Europa League spot, which is like, that's such an enormous influx of money for the club. Like, if you can qualify for every year. I think it's like, I don't know, like it's like $500,000 for every game you win or something. It's like it's an actual significant number to a club that's worth $50 million.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, you're looking at Europa, you're like, bro, we were in the Champions League semifinals literally like, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for you to get excited about Europa League.
I feel like with Europa League, you need to get over the hump. You're like, it's kind of like when you're really good at a video game and you want to beat the record, but you don't really focus until you pass a certain threshold of points. Say you're playing like Tetris, your record's 100K, you're at 10K, you're like, oh, I'm so far away. But if you pass 40K, you're like, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. We're in the conversation. We're in the conversation. Yeah. Right.
If you can manage to get to the quarters without giving a fuck, then you're like,
yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's what Inter did last year, and then they got to the final and lost, and then they were like, fuck.
Right. They climb so high to get shot down so quick. Yeah.
If you don't get past like the quarters, you're like, fuck it, dude. You know, like. So if we can get past the quarters, then I know everyone will believe, you know?
What's the spot? What spot are you in the league right now?
We're like 6th, but we're all there, bro. It's crazy. This year is crazy. Juve's tied with us for 6th. Like, so they're doing horrible. Milan's first. It's a mess.
But you think winning Europa is obviously a harder route than finishing top 4?
I think we're not good enough to win Europa League, to be honest. We think because eventually you're going to meet a cracked Spanish side who cares so much about this, and you're just not that good.
Oh, that's not even it. Here's the other thing. Champions League is kind of spicy this year because there's a lot of questionable teams on the fringe of coming to Europa, which would be absolutely devastating. Like Atletico has only 2 points ahead of RB Salzburg. That would be disgusting if they made it to Europa. Real Madrid is not a lock. I think they still like that's not a lock though. Olympiacos is a nasty team. Like, I would not want to play super annoying. Ajax or Atalanta, I do not want to play either of those teams. What else we got? We got RB Leipzig or Manchester United. I honestly don't want to play either. Like, those are all potentially Europa League teams that I would say Red Star struggles with. I don't know how good Roma is this year, but they're struggling with, I think, most of these teams.
Yeah, we're not look, we had our chance to win the Europa League within the past 6-7 years when we had way better teams, but we just didn't give a shit. So it really comes down to that. We had the players. Now I wouldn't even bank on it. Like we're not even good enough. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't understand what's happening with the club though. You had this moment where you were super loaded, I think, and had a lot of good players, and then started selling everything, and like you've not been able to find even half the replacements that you sold.
You know what the problem is, man? Like, we got bought by Americans in early 2010s, 12, 13, something like that, right? And so we were at a down period then. They bought us at our lowest. So they come in, they buy the first year, we have like 10 new players, right? And these 10 new players ended up being garbage, but not because they were bad. It's just 10 new players, new cycle, new coach, new ownership. Everything is set in motion to create a cycle, a nucleus of players. Within those nucleus of players, there were players like Pjanic who ended up being pivotal. At first, they were struggling, and then that year passes, and like you sift away the really bad ones who were the only placeholders. Like, we remember we bought Gago there. He was only there for a year. He was a Real Madrid reject. He was whatever, but he was just there as a transitioning piece. But Pjanic stayed because he was a 20-year-old Leon. We just got him. He was cracked. He didn't obviously contribute because we were still losing, but pieces of the puzzles, and then you end up.
Sorry, when did Salah come to the team? That was later.
2016.
Okay,
2016.
Sorry, carry on.
But by the time he came, there were already a lot of pieces, and then eventually, the first year that we had a first good year with the Americans, Pjanic had been there for a while. Totti's still there. De Rossi's still there. Florenzi, a couple of years in the league now, so he's growing. We had just bought Strootman to fill in, who Strootman
Dutch
had it not been for the fact that his ACL is just destroyed, he would have been one of the best midfielders in Europe.
Really?
I've never seen a player so dominant, quick, agile, big, strong become so affected. And I feel bad for the guy. Like 3 to 5 ACL surgeries in like 2 years. That was crazy. Yeah. Crazy, man. And he was not the same player. I'm telling you, we would not have been able to keep him if he would have kept up that level. He was too good. But then that year, we also buy Nangolan in a January transfer market. Crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. And so from that created the nucleus of players that would guarantee us to be at least a second place Serie A team for like 6 years. You add Salah 1 year, Gervinho's having the year of his life for us, and we sell him by Salah. We get Dzeko. He's scoring so many goals.
The legend
We had such a
Kolarov
good team.
in his out.
Kolarov.
They thought he was out of his prime, baby. He came back from the dead and he entered another prime.
We squeezed another 2 phenomenal years
Yeah.
from Kolarov. He was so good that he was second only to Messi in terms of free kicks scored in Europe. The guy was a machine. Like
That's such a crazy stat.
Like it was funny to see. Like all the youngsters, yo, am I taking this free kick? Kolarov was like, fuck. Like, look at
They
him.
told him in Serbian.
Like if the only man who would have taken off free kicks was Totti, but he was obviously not there. You know, we had such a good team. It's one of those where you only realize how strong your team is when they're gone. Because at the time we're 1 or 2 pieces away from greatness, and then you lose them all. Because you know what happened? This is what happened. We hired the biggest fraud in football. Everyone hypes him up. He's in advertisements for Football Manager. His name is Monchi. He's a sporting director. He's that guy who made all the Sevilla squads, who won all the Europa League. So everyone's like, oh, he's got the best network of scouts. He knows the best players. My guy he single-handedly destroyed Roma.
He's the Darko Milicic of the fucking.
Sold the best players, bought the worst ones. He took a semi-final Champions League team and made them a 7th place Serie A team. I couldn't believe it. Nzonzi, garbage. Played garbage for us. Just so many purchases that were made that destroyed us. I like that's essentially what happened. Poor, because when you're a club like Roma, you have to buy smart. You're gonna sell, you have to buy smart. And we destroyed something that was good. So now we have the pleasure of starting over.
But Roma is not like, it's not a Borussia Dortmund, it's not a Benfica, it's not this place where you build these young players and sell them for profit. They're also not a Manchester United or a Bayern that can just buy the biggest players when they develop in their prime. Like they can pay whatever money. They probably have less money than Juventus, Milan, Inter.
Way less. No.
Every one of these clubs has more money than Roma. So I don't know.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
About Roma, and I'm obviously biased, so I like the idea of this, but the new owners who just came in, they said they're a sleeping giant because the history isn't there in terms of trophies, but you're the best club in the capital city of Italy. This has to end some way where we start becoming more successful, because we're not, even if we don't win a lot, we cannot afford to be a club like Dortmund that develops talent. People will not accept that. Okay, right. We have people have expectations that might seem unreasonable based on the history, but you can always change a club. People want Roma to be a winning club, and so hopefully, the new owners create a scenario where you can consistently be a top 3 Italian club, because the people won't accept anything else. They just won't. We do not want to be a cyclical club like Dortmund that gets 20-year-olds. We're like a hybrid sort of thing.
This is a very interesting time in football for me, at least, for Red Star, because most of my life they've been kind of garbage. When I was born, they were exiting their Champions League success, their prime, and then since I've been alive, their best pinnacle. Did they make Champions League before the last couple of years? I don't know if they maybe in the late 90s or something, some random year where I was 5 years old. But I'm wondering how that part of the world can redevelop and become a powerhouse, or if it can even happen, because there's a club in Romania that won the Champions League before Red Star. There's a bunch of really on the fringe of being really quality club. Like Olympiacos has always been a club that's really tough and just on the outskirts of getting through the Champions League, the next round. I don't know if they have. They might have even gone through a first couple rounds.
Even Turkish clubs.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm wondering what the actual rebound strategy is, because if you're a Serbian club, how do you bring in better players to play in the Serbian league? We brought an Italian guy. I always tell you about him. I fucking love him. He's an absolute vet. He's the definition of a veteran. He knows when to draw fouls. He knows when to be dirty. He does all the nitty gritty stuff. He has an okay header. He's just an all around, what I need you to do, you're going to do it. How do we bring more guys like that to a fringe league,
It's tough, man. I feel like the only solution in that level is you just need to create Serbian talent, man. You need to bring it, which it should be doable. There's so many talented Serbians, but then you have to keep them. It's just a mess, man. And I feel it's like I don't like modern football, man. I preferred it when there were these obscure teams that popped up, semifinal when Roma got to the Champions League semifinal, it was against Dundee United, right?
Right.
We had an epic comeback against Dundee. What are you?
The fuck is it?
Good luck finding them nowadays,
But you know why this thing worked?
Why?
Because back in the Yugoslavia days, they had like specific rules that said you have to play in your own country until like, I think it was some number like 25. So, I mean, you would have like Stankovic in his prime, still in Red Star. You would have Mihailovic in his prime, still in Red Star. You would have all these guys that right now, Vidic goes to Manchester, Milinkovic-Savic goes to Lazio. But imagine Red Star had 24-year-old Milinkovic-Savic on their team right now. Like, we're talking about a different, and not even that. Like, if they were able to hold on to him, that's like a £60 million transfer. But does he become a £60 million transfer? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things.
He has to play in the Champions League at that point. Yeah, he could be. But this is such a hard thing to solve. This is something that even we're talking about clubs in Eastern Europe or obscure leagues, but like this is a problem that even in big countries, people don't know how to tackle it because the Seria is so bad compared to what it used to, because it used to be a literal league. I mean, I've seen so many, the one good thing about, I don't want to say that, but like the one entertaining thing about during the pandemic, right? There were so many Instagram live shows between the Italian footballers, and I saw so many entertaining ones. Totti with Vieri with Del Piero, Totti, Vieri, and Del Piero in an Instagram call. And they're all talking Cannavaro and Totti. Like they're just all chilling, bands, and then a little bit of football, and then just like making fun of each other. But when they talked about football, they were like, man, back in our day, like it was different, man. Every year, 8-9 teams could win the league every year. Dude, think about that. Not 4, not 5, 8, 9, dude. You had Roma with Totti and Cassano and Battistuta, Inter with Vieri and Renault R9. We had Milan with Maldini and Pirlo. We had even before Pirlo went to Milan, he was at Brescia with Baggio. Then we had Fiorentina before Battistuta went to Roma with Ricosta, Battistuta. Dude, people do not understand how hard it was to win in those days. Roma won the league with like 76, 79 points. Now you win the league with like, the winner has like, you can get over 100 easily. Why? Because you have more easy games. So we can't even solve that nationally because Juventus is just like sucking it all in, with all their money, all these teams. Like,
what about like,
it's impossible.
The MLS kind of has like a system potentially that works because they have a cap on how many like big expenditure players you can have. You can buy, I think, 3 players that are over $1 million. And then after that, you can't do anymore, right? And then they don't even have like a cup. They have a playoff.
Would you say there's like some culture though that like because like you even see it in the NBA, right? Like I feel, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like in the past 10 years, we saw more super teams than we did previously in the NBA. Like the first big 3 was like LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. But nowadays, LeBron, Bosh, and Wade wouldn't even be that good because you got Golden State with like 2 perfect lineups. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm thinking like, is that like, and they have salary caps and all this stuff, but
there's I think there's a pendulum and it swings one way and the other way. Just like, Red Star was good, one day they're not good this day. Like Nottingham Forest won a thing. They'll never fucking play in the Champions League. Like, there's this pendulum that happens, and maybe one day they'll go back. But in the NBA, it's more, the pendulum swings back a lot easier, I think, because even now, if you look at the NBA, there really isn't, I wouldn't say super teams. Like LeBron is with AD. Those are 2 all-stars. I mean, that's a great team, but that's not a super team per se. Like you have other teams like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. That's their own thing. You have like Lillard and I don't know, CJ McCollum. They're not superstars, but like it's not that big of a gap. There was this little period, let's say 5 years, LeBron, Bosh, the Golden State Warriors. Now you have KD and Kyrie Irving on a team. You have like the Raptors look kind of decent. Like I think the discrepancy went down significantly because these super teams in the NBA was really like, it was really gross. Like I didn't like it. Kind of ruined it for me.
And the only thing I don't like about American sports in that I feel like it's forced to make these balances and these changes. I don't like how it's forced with draft picks and like you can tank a season. I don't know. It's just
that
kind of
part
weird.
is weird. Yeah, that is weird.
I just feel like it used to be more organic in Europe. I feel like players are just joining each other. Like, come on, man. When I saw that, it's cool to see Neymar and Messi and Suarez in a team, but at the same time, I was like, guys, come on.
Yeah, come on.
What are you doing? What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What happened? Like, I just wish there was more of a sense of, like, I don't know the word, but just feeling attached to a shirt. This is your shirt and you're going to fight for that shirt.
Yeah.
And, there's two people in that team that are going to fight for that shirt. I just wish there was more balance, but organic balance, not forced. And I feel like the only way to do that is if everyone had the money. Because if the same contract is available everywhere, I feel like you can spread the talent
stay wherever you
a little
want,
bit
right?
more.
You can go wherever you want. You would stay home. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying 100%.
Yeah, right now, like, dude, teams like United and Barca, and dude, they have too much money, man. Like, too much purchasing power. They can easily attract. Like, dude, City has so many players, man. Like,
I'll give a fun example. When Red Star played Bayern, I saw a man that is worth $150 million come off the bench for 13 minutes. Let's put this into perspective. He's worth 3 times the club value coming to play for 13 minutes in a game that's already 4-0. What are we doing here? Like, what is the point? Like, we shouldn't have even show. Like, what's the point of doing this? This is so stupid.
Yeah. In fairness to Bayern, though, they do have a team that a lot of it is like homegrown and stuff, and so I respect that a lot more than like a team more like City, who literally just had a shopping list and just kind of like filled in the gaps, right? I understand.
There's no perfect answer here. Even the Bayern thing kind of sucks because like Bayern buys domestically, which means like they're just destroying their competition. So like they always win the league, and that's kind of like shitty, you know? Like I feel like there's always a way to exploit the system, and big clubs with big money always find it.
Yeah, I feel like if you're a big Lazio player and Roma wants you, it's happened before where you have players go from one to another. Kolarov is one, for example, but it's so limited. And I feel like, as bad as that might sound, I feel like that's a good thing, you know?
Really?
I feel like if for example, in a world where Lazio is rich as hell and they want to buy Totti, I feel like it's a good thing that that's not even on the cards, you know? It's just not happening. It's not a possible, it's like trying to sell a steak to a vegan. It's just not happening. It's never going to happen. That's not a plate of vegans ever ordering to the restaurant. And it's fine. It's just fine. Lazio is going to buy from this team and not from Roma, and Roma not from Lazio. But not that we bought from Lazio for Kolarov. We got Kolarov from City on a free transfer. But in general, I think it's never black and white. But I think those are good things. And I wish it was more like that when switching big clubs too, because it would kind of limit certain transfers in a way. I don't know. I'm a bit more conservative in these things.
Who would have thought this episode we would go from Russia to trying to solve some of the biggest problems in modern day football? But yeah, here we are. 1 hour and 12 minutes flew by for me. It's just a conversation. Good time. V-Dog, tell people where they can follow you. Tell them what you do. Some people an hour and a half in or an hour and 15 minutes in might not know what you actually do. Like that's how much we've rambled.
Dude, all you need to know about me is that I like to overthink things, whether it's in FIFA or not.
That's accurate.
It's what I don't want to say I'm a YouTuber, because the day I stop being a YouTuber, I lose my self-identity. No, that's not me. I overthink things, and I just also happen to do FIFA YouTube videos. But if you want to find me, just Italian Stallion FIFA, put that on YouTube, Stallion Sama, anything, whatever that, you'll find me some way, one way or another.
Best FIFA videos in the game, folks. I'll say it here. I'll say it again. I'll say it every time. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.